President Obama is now in the fight of his political life to try to save Obamacare.
Great to see you. Happy New Year.
While Obama revs up Democrats, Vice President-elect Pence is revving up Republicans, and it's about to come to a head.
The first order of business is to repeal and replace Obamacare.
We'll show you what to expect. And in state news, the Senate could give parents and incoming college students a very big gift. Plus, in our game show segment, our former Bucks are back for political squares. This is Money, Power, and Politics.
Yes, and Marissa, we've got to start off with this war over health care that just took off in a big way in Congress.
Yeah, Republicans say Obamacare is going down. That's why Vice President-elect Mike Pence spent today on Capitol Hill. He's helping to coordinate the strategy between Republicans and Congress and the White House. They have more than enough votes to repeal this in the House, and the Senate has scheduled a vote to repeal it next week. And they appear to have the votes there as well.
So that's where President Obama knows it all comes down to the Senate, and that's where he is rallying much of the resistance. You generally need 60 votes to do much of anything in the U.S. Senate, and the Republicans don't have 60 votes. But Marissa, there's a big but here.
Yeah, that doesn't apply to budget bills. So by working through the budget process, they can undermine much of the health care law with a simple majority, which they do have.
We're going to keep our promise to the American people. And we're going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with solutions that lower the cost of health insurance without growing the size of government.
We still don't know what Republicans have in mind in terms of a replacement. Speaker Ryan says there are several plans, and President-elect Trump says he wants universal government-funded health care. Here's how he spelled it out in his interview on 60 Minutes.
Everybody's got to be covered. This is an un-Republican thing for me to say.
The uninsured person is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
Probably,
make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it, but we're going to save so much money on the other side.
Democrats claim Republicans in Congress want to gut Obamacare, Medicare, and Medicaid. And Bernie Sanders called on the president-elect to help them out.
Donald Trump has got to come forward, maybe through a tweet, one of his tweets, and say clearly that Donald Trump will veto any legislation that cuts Medicare, that cuts Medicaid, or that cuts Social Security.
Democrats say Obamacare gave health care to 20 million people, and that scrapping it would be a big mistake.
The Republican plan to cut health care wouldn't make America great again. It would make America sick again and lead to chaos instead of affordable care.
But premiums have shot up higher than the administration expected, and Republicans say it's failing and only getting worse.
We need to reverse the damage that has been done. We've got to fix this by replacing it with something better. And in that transition, we want to make sure we don't pull the rug out from anybody during that transition. That's the point we're all trying to make.
You know, one of the problems the Democrats have had all along here is that the president's health care law is, of course, very complicated, and it's hard, therefore, to explain. That's where they've lost the message battle in this for years. And that inspired our little parody to kind of show what happens when members of Congress try to explain what they actually passed. Take a look.
And I think the best way that I could explain back
the CBO routinely
and so this estimate on the impact of the ACAs,
what percentage of
so given the fact that the
due to expressed because let me rephrase that millions of hours would be of labor would be
in our projection of the amount of debt.
I'm having a hard time understanding how that could possibly make sense.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Please welcome Adam Goodman, our political strategist, predominantly works with Republicans, also Edward R. Murrow Fellow. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So, Obamacare can be hard to explain. That's why Democrats struggle. What about the replacement, whatever it might be? How will Republicans not struggle just the same to explain that?
It is the line in the sand that Republicans drew in the campaign that they're going to repeal and replace Obamacare. It is incumbent upon them, however, to learn from history, the history that Democrats have largely championed in terms of not being able to communicate what Obamacare is. A, set expectations. that means that it's not going to be repealed and replaced overnight. It can't be. It's going to take some time. Today we heard that Vice President-elect Mike Pence said it's going to be, we need an orderly kind of neat transition into what will be in terms of what is. And the second thing is we have to make sure in a very complicated issue that we do the right things. And some of the things that people like about Obamacare, like pre-existing conditions being covered, is going to have to be retained, and the insurance industry. They have to be, kind of encouraged to stay in the system, because if they don't like the way the transition is going and they go south, this whole program could be in for a much longer track than is necessary.
Let's talk about Trump's relationship with Congress. Behind closed doors on a federal holiday, they decide they want to gut the ethics watchdog office, and they go back on it the next day after Trump tweets at them. What does that say about his relationship with Congress?
Well, I think after that first hit, the word oops came into play in every congressional office that had the word Republican next to it. Donald Trump has something that the U.S. Congress doesn't have. He has the bully pulpit, and he knows how to use it. And my feeling is that whenever Congress tries to thwart where the president-elect wants to go, he's going to do something he's very good at. He's going to take his case directly to the American people. And that's something we haven't seen, I think, in a long time, in a powerful way, since probably going back to Ronald Reagan. And that's something that members of Congress and leaders of Congress are terribly concerned about.
Adam, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, now let's move on to some big possible changes for parents and future college students. You have some changes in the works in the legislature. The Senate President Joe Negron wants to restore full funding for Bright Future scholarships so that more students can get them and or get more out of them when they do.
Yeah, the scholarships do not cover what they did because the state raised the qualifying standards and cut funds. When the program started in 1997, 30% of high school graduates qualified. That shot up to 39% 10 years later, but this past school year, only 20% of graduates qualify for the Bright Future Scholarship.
So this is something that has a decent chance of passing, but there could be certainly some pushback on this because state lawmakers will not have as much money to work with as they had hoped based on revenue projections.
Yeah, and meanwhile, in New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo, along with Senator Bernie Sanders, proposed free tuition for students there. Their scholarship would be the first of its kind in the United States, relieving tuition costs for 940,000 middle-class families and individuals making up to $125,000 a year.
Okay, we still have a lot of ground to cover. Coming up, we're going to show you why Republicans wanted to gut House ethics rules, and we'll show you where this ranks on our list of blunders in Congress. And our former Bucks will join us for our game show, Political Squares, when we come back. In some words, you have House Republicans who tried to gut their ethics rules behind closed doors until they were shamed into changing their minds.
So where does that rank in our list of blunders then?
Well, I would say it's pretty high on the list, but I need to start with a look back at some of the others. Take a look.
I have never been more hopeful about America's future than I am tonight.
Our senators and representatives sometimes have trouble getting out of their own way. For example, Senator John McCain gets the prize for best unintended punchline.
I think you may have noticed that Senator Obama's supporters have been saying some pretty nasty things about Western Pennsylvania lately. And you know, I couldn't agree with them more.
Of course, Vice President Biden, as President of the Senate, gets our Lifetime Achievement Award for saying things you would not expect.
Speak softly and carry a big stick. End of quote. I promise you, the president has a big stick.
Meanwhile, Paul Ryan gets our award for the most unfortunate slip of the tongue for what he said about our healthcare system in the past.
Because we're not going to give up on destroying the healthcare system for the American people.
That's right. He said he would not give up on destroying our healthcare system. And with that, he just nudged out Senator Harry Reid in the category of unfortunate slips.
Today is a big day in America. Only 36,000 people lost their jobs today, which is really good.
Of course, we've got to give some kind of blunder award to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for apparently not knowing Vietnam reunited more than 40 years ago.
For better human rights record for North Vietnam, but they're living side by side.
Then there's Indiana Senator Dan Coates. He won the Gaffe of the Year award a couple of years ago for grilling a witness on Capitol Hill. Just listen to all the questions he threw at him trying to get some answers.
I'm not here to get a specific answer from you, but to better understand what is happening and how I think there's probably a trial plan that's going to be put in place, if that rings a bell. What is it you're trying to accomplish, and what are some of the consequences of that going to be to the current DFAS system?
Turns out he had stumbled into the wrong hearing, had no idea what they were talking about, and was just trying to play it off.
I just got a note saying I'm at the wrong hearing. Fine, I'll go try to find out where I'm supposed to be.
But our all-time award still goes to Georgia Congressman Hank Johnson, who worried that Guam could tip over into the ocean if too many people got on one side.
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Capsize. And this was a big night because we got our first official spit take here in the studio. Thank you for that, Lemoyne. Those were all funny, by the way, but people were not laughing, seriously, about the vote to gut ethics rules, and that's why that one was a very serious blunder.
So we want to show you why House Republicans tried to do it, why it backfired, and Mike Flannery breaks it down for us.
And they should not be subjected to anonymous complaints that are acted upon by a body that then leaks that information out to the public, and they have to defend themselves in the public. That's unjust.
Nonsense, said ethics experts on the left and right. The conservative Citizens for the Republic was among the outraged. Middle of the night, behind-the-scenes backroom deals are not the way to drain the swamp in Washington, and neither is abolishing the Office of Congressional Ethics. The OCE has targeted Democrats, such as former Representative Jesse Jackson Jr., who eventually went to prison, and Republicans, such as the now indicted former Representative Aaron Schock. The agency was created in 2008 following revelations of lobbyist Jack Abramoff's big bribery payments. Ironically, Abramoff, who reinvented himself after getting out of prison as an ethics reformer, was among those today denouncing efforts to weaken OCE. Politico.com said OCE has launched about 100 investigations, dismissing about two-thirds of them.
It's a lot of investigations. Meanwhile, faith in Congress has been near a record low for some time. But Florida Congressman Alcee Hastings and others have repeatedly said that they deserve, of all things, a raise. Yeah, they make around $174,000 a year. But some said that they need more to make ends meet. So we put together a little PSA to help them make their case. Let's see it. Yeah, cut it right there. Forgot Boehner quit, so he's no longer on. But that shot of him crying was just too good not to work into this. Yeah, and check out our full PSA on our YouTube channel because we still have game night coming on up. Yeah, that's right. We've got our former Tampa Bay Bucks. They're battling for weeks. We'll show you where we left off on our game show segment, Political Squares, after the break.
One of these stars is sitting in the secret square, and the contestant who picks it could win a special prize. Which star is it? John Wilson, Jen Epstein, Vanessa Rufus, Chris Cato, Russell Rhodes, Mark Wilson, Matt Towery, Marissa Lynn, or Charlie Belcher? All on the Political Squares. And here's the master of political squares, Craig Patrick.
All right, thanks for joining us here. This is round 4. My goodness, gee, you have a 2-1 lead right now, Brad. The pressure's on you this week.
It is on me.
All right, well, Squares, thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having all of us.
No, thank you. Yeah, the Squares are fired up as usual. Brad, you get the first pick.
Chucky B in the middle. I'll take him first.
Charlie Belcher.
All righty, Brad. We got this, my man.
Here we go. Can a United States vice president serve more than 2 terms? Yes or no?
In this political climate, who would want to? I'm going to say no. 2 terms like a president, a vice president, they're out.
And he says the answer is no. A vice president cannot serve more than 2 terms as per the 22nd Amendment. Do you agree or disagree?
I think that they can serve more than 2 terms. I don't think they can be consecutive, so I would disagree.
You can disagree.
Whoa, he's disagreeing with my disagreement?
Wait, now I'm confused. So if he says no and you disagree, you get it wrong, right?
I'm getting confused here.
Wait, hold on a second.
Back up. Help me think that one through.
Oh, for crying out loud, Brad correctly disagreed with the wrong answer. Can we finally stop with all these double negatives?
So you get the point.
Correct.
Yes, circle gets the center square. Let's move along.
Brad, you keep the O. All right, Cheetah, you're up.
All right. I'm going to go with Marissa again.
Gonna go with Marissa again. Marissa, it's all on you.
Yeah, ask me about another double negative, Craig.
And in politics, you've always heard this term to keep the ball rolling, right? You got to keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling in sports, too. Where does that come from?
Now, bear with me right here. William Henry Harrison, one of our former presidents of the United States, he had these large balls. Stay with me. And he would roll them through town all the way to the White House during his candidacy for president. Keep the ball rolling. Make him president.
Is she bluffing you?
I have to disagree.
Gonna disagree.
That just sounds kind of...
Sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy but true. Crazy but true. Oh, no, Cheaty, there you go.
Don't believe me? Sorry. It was actually the right answer this time.
Not a big Harrison fan.
I forgot.
No. All right. I think you might be a John Wilson fan.
I am a big Johnny W. fan.
All right, John.
Yo, okay.
Who was the first president to go on TV? The first president to go on TV.
I was watching television then. Oh, yeah, that'd be FDR.
I was thinking Truman. I would agree.
You're going to agree. Well, you got it right. There you go, and he wins this round. He evens it out 2-2. You got a 2-2 tie. That's right.
I had to give it now. I had to.
Cheetah, you got shut out this time. But the good news is you're tied. It's 2-2. Squares, you'll be back next week, right?
We're stuck in these boxes. We don't have much of a choice.
They're going to be back. They're all fired up. You're fired up, too.
I am.
All right, we'll be right back. Now on to something different that stumped House Speaker Paul Ryan. Take a look.
Oh, I hold my hand up like
Yeah, you look at her right there.
Okay.
All right?
What? Is he okay? What happened?
The sun in the background, you can see he's dabbing.
sneezing?
Well, no.
No.
He's dabbing. But listen to what
Play
Paul
it out.
Ryan
Let's see how this goes. Play this out.
Do you want to put your hand out?
Okay.
You're going to sneeze? Is that it?
Yeah. All right. He's sneezing.
No.
He said he was sneezing.
He was
said
lying.
sneezing.
He was a teenage boy lying. He was dabbing while his father was getting sworn in. That was Kansas Representative Roger Marshall getting sworn in. They're taking pictures with Speaker Paul Ryan after the swearing in, and then his son
dabbing?
decides he wants to dab because that's the cool thing to do. No, that's the dab.
What's the whip?
Don't even get me started.
Check out our YouTube channel, Greg Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics. Click subscribe to get caught up in prior shows you may have missed, our humor segments, our investigations, and much more. And do we have any whips or nays, or
I'll
we got
dab.
to wrap? That's it.
Good.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Take care.